TitleMatchNetwork.com.
What do you think's going to happen now that Bischoff is in charge over there? Do you think it's going to be the same old song and dance in a year from now?
I don't think it'll be the same old song and dance a year from now, because I don't think that these people that Eric Bischoff had brought in have that deep of pockets. I don't think that they could last a year at losing $60 to $70 million. They're going to have to change something. They're going to have to do something about the big salaries, and they're going to have to improve their product. Is Eric Bischoff capable of that? I don't know. A lot of people say that Eric Bischoff was one of the big reasons of the downfall to begin with. It remains to be seen. I know that I've watched a couple of their shows since Eric Bischoff and the new owners have taken over, and I don't see any difference whatsoever. I think they got a huge hill to climb, and I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. But I do know that nobody has the money that AOL and Time Warner has, and if they were ready to dump WCW, I think this new company is not going to be able to fund it for nearly as long as AOL-Time Warner did.
Your thoughts on Vince Russo? And do you think when he went over to WCW, he was exposed for not being the genius that he claimed he was?
Without a doubt. Vince Russo, I certainly don't ever look at him as being a genius, and I don't dislike Vince Russo. I didn't get to be around him that much when he was up there. I do remember when he was just a writer for the WWF magazine, and then all of a sudden he would start writing for the shows. I think Vince Russo had some ideas that were certainly successful. Some ideas that I like and some ideas that I agree with. In the fact that he certainly was he was an advocate of the old adage that sex sells, and I couldn't agree more. I think that Vince Russo brought that aspect to the WWF shows, and it scared a lot of people, and it raised a lot of eyebrows, and it turned a lot of people off. But it brought more attention, and it turned more people on than it turned off. And that was the fact of all of the women in the WWF, the beautiful girls, the scantily clad women, as we like to call them, and basically the TNA aspect. And males 18 to 34, I don't care what you say, that's what they want to see. That was something he did right. And that you got to also credit Vince McMahon for saying, hey, we'll try it. This is something totally opposite of what I've been brought up to believe in.
Do you think that Vince, not to cut you off, took a lot of his ideas from Paul Heyman and ECW and ran with it into a bigger level?
Vince Russo, you mean?
No, Vince McMahon.
Oh.
Also,
I don't know if he took a lot of them. He certainly took some of them. Vince once told me that, and this is the way you will, if you ever get to know Vince McMahon, you realize Vince is like he's like a big sponge. I mean, he is out there ready to soak up any idea or any suggestion or anything that he thinks is good, and he'll use it. And that's the way you're successful. If you're smart enough to use the ones that are good and throw out and not use the ones that are bad, that's good business. And getting back to what I was saying about the girls in wrestling, Vince McMahon was ballsy enough to say, okay, we're going to take this risk, and it worked. It paid off. Some of the other things that Vince Russo brought in that worked to a degree, but then got overused, was like the language. He was like, all of a sudden, Vince Russo, I liken him to it was the shock jock syndrome, like Howard Stern and that sort of thing. It's shocking, and it will make people tune in just about, people are talking about, did you hear what Steve Austin said? I mean, he called Vince McMahon a son of a bitch right on television. And so you're kidding. So they tune in, and they see that. But then all of a sudden, when Steve Austin goes out and says, Vince McMahon, you're a son of a bitch, and then Jeff Jarrett comes out and called somebody a son of a bitch, and then the next guy comes out, The Rock says you're a son of a bitch. then it gets, it's overkill. And I think that's what happened. I think Vince Russo didn't know when to stop on things. He just kept going and going. Now that he's gone and he tried all of that down in WCW, it's already been seen. It's already been done. It's a rerun. And that, in a sense, yes, exposes him for the fact that he might have been a one-trick pony. He had those couple of things that worked, but was he able to follow them up? Was he able to come up with anything else that worked? No. And in looking back at what's happened to the WWF since Vince Russo left, one of the things I agree with, one of the things I don't agree with, but I guess it's just their way of thinking. I think they pull back on the language. They try to cut some of that down, tone it down. I agree with that. You don't need everybody doing all this cussing and all that kind of stuff. One person doing it makes it special, makes it stand out, makes it shocking. Everybody doing it is overkill. The other thing they've done with the women, I think, and I think this is my own personal opinion, I think this is wrong, is they've tried to now funnel the women into women wrestling. They're still on the shows, but they're women wrestlers now. And I think one of the reasons for my success as a character is because I'm really pretty much the way that I talk out there. I love women. I love beautiful women. I like to look at them. Puppies, all of this kind of stuff. That's really me. That's really my character. I think it is really sexy to see a girl in lingerie or bikini or scantily clad. If she's got a great body, great face. That, to me, just to get to see a girl walking out to the ring like that is a big turn on for me. To see a girl get in the ring and wrestle is a turn off. I don't think it's sexy. I think it's to me, it's just like, it just kills it. And I think, though, the thinking that the WWF is doing now is, we still got the women on the show, we'll just have them wrestle. And, I think we're losing, I know when we go to these shows and we sit there and JR or Michael Cole and I are sitting there during the commercial breaks, you hear 18,000 people just for no reason start a puppies chant. When they're sitting there during a commercial break with nothing to do, and the biggest chant that starts up is puppies, puppies. That's what they want to see. That's what we gave them. That's what we teased them with. And now we're pulling back from that. That's something personally that I don't agree with. That I think Vince Russo was right on with.
TitleMatchNetwork.com